Hey, it's Adam here, and you're watching The Culture Hack, where we're talking about how to create engaged workspaces that unlock the potential of your teams and drive your business forward in ways you've never seen. So stay tuned. Okay, welcome to another episode of The Culture Hack. Today I'm super excited to have Cody Neal on with me. He's the Vice President of Devonshire Properties, all the way from Granville Island. Welcome, Cody. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Hey, thanks a lot, Adam. Happy to be here and be part of it.
Awesome. And I'm super excited. I met Cody on LinkedIn, and it says right in the top of his thing that management without effective leadership is like straightening the deck chairs on the Titanic. So that's amazing. This guy probably has something incredible to say. So, but first, we want to hear about Devonshire. Tell us about Devonshire.
Sure, yeah, you bet. So, Devonshire is a privately held company. We've been around since 1959. We're an owner, manager, developer of multifamily real estate. So that's typically concrete high-rises. That's the bulk of what we do. We do a little office management as well. As you mentioned, I'm on Granville Island. We have a building here with, about 8 or 9 office tenants. So we do a little bit of that. And on the front of the building, there's a live-aboard marina. So there are between 10 and 12 boat slips. People can live on their boats if they choose to. A few of the tenants do. So we were involved in that management. But again, the bulk of what we do is in the residential, the multifamily space. So we have 1,800 apartments across Canada, between Vancouver, Winnipeg, Mississauga, and North York. So it keeps us quite busy. I tell anyone who's willing to hear it that we're a morally grounded organization. We have old school values. It's been a family business since '59, so a lot of the, like I said, the old school values have been maintained. We use a compassionate approach. We try and do the right things in everything that we do. We care about our people, not just the people that work for us, but our customers, our tenants, and even to extend that a bit further, the people that we do business with. When we win, we like our vendor partners to win. So we look for win-win outcomes. And hey, we're a business. We make sound business decisions, but never at the expense of our values. So we try and walk the walk, and it's not just a cliche putting people first since '59. It's not just the cliche on the website.
I love that. And that's a 60+ year journey of that type of leadership and that type of idea. So when we say engagement, that's a term that's being thrown around a lot these days, but Devonshire, with such a legacy and such a history, what does it mean to you guys?
I don't know. I think it's a pretty standard definition, but you're right. I guess everybody has a different spin on it. To me, it's an employee's level of voluntary and active participation, working towards company goals. If an employee is buying in to the company goals and directives, I'd say they're engaged. I'd say it's the effort they're willing to put forward voluntarily without being told to go and do something. Sort of what happens like when a manager is not there looking over their shoulder, when a supervisor's not there, that type of thing. That's engagement to me.
Right. The idea of, you can ask somebody to show up for their 8 hours and do their work, and this is what we're paying you to do, but the extra, sometimes up to 200%, is volunteer. And if they're excited to be there, then watch out, right?
Right. Well, and I think it's when there's a challenging situation, right? Like on the standard day, things can be, they can be, when there's not a lot of challenge, okay, everyone can do the job. It's easy, but it's when you have that really challenging customer, that phone call in the middle of the night in property management, it happens often. Mm-hmm. It's sort of digging deep when there's a challenge at hand.
Right. Yeah, it's maybe not for everybody. And, we're kind of leading into that talk of challenges, over the years with Devonshire. Have there been specific challenges with keeping your team engaged when times do get tough, or, everything seems to go wrong? Is there any particular stories that come to mind?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's an ongoing thing. The residential property management space, it can be a bit of a burn. It can burn people out. So you've always got to be mindful of keeping your team engaged. And there's different ways to do that. I don't think we try and reinvent the wheel, but positive reinforcement. When people are doing what you ask, make sure you shout it out, acknowledge their effort, say thank you. We make sure all of our managers, if there's a people manager, they're in contact with their team every day, multiple times. Small touch points. It's not always a sit down meeting or something like that, but there's sort of an ongoing performance management element to what we do. There's people are always in contact with their managers. We're a pretty flat organization. We don't have 16 levels of managers, so those are some of the things that we do.
Gotcha. So keep the conversation going and make sure you share those amazing stories, right? Because those are individual acts of heroism, right? The call in the middle of the night, something happened, there's a water leak, whatever it is, you got to show up, right?
Yeah, exactly, for sure.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah.
And then looking forward to the future, to the next year or 2 years, do you have any plans or ideas or vision for how you will continue to keep your team engaged, and especially as you grow, if you are growing?
Yeah, no, I think it's got to be a constant focus for all people managers. Like if you're not being mindful and thoughtful about your people, they'll stray. There's lots of job opportunities in this country and in all the cities that we operate in. So sort of going forward, I think it's, like I said, a mindfulness. You need to explain to your team when there are changes, why they're happening, the logic behind them. It helps people buy in and understand what we're doing. I don't know. You have to extend patience when people make mistakes. You can't come down on them super hard. It's just not the work environment isn't what it was 30 years ago, where you can get away with being really heavy-handed. You got to help people grow. You got to explain again the logic, and I say hard on policy, soft on people is a way to approach it. So
I like that.
Yeah. It's not my line. I heard someone say it once. I don't remember the guy's name, but I think it makes sense.
Okay, I like that. And it sounds like you guys have a very strong sense of identity, right? You haven't lasted 60 years by making the easy decision, when times get tough, right?
Yeah.
And there in 60 years has been a whole generational turning of the guard happening, once if not twice, right? And here you are. So very, very cool.
Yeah. No, and actually just I just heard you say not making the easy decision. When I first joined the company in the spring of 2020, COVID was brand new. It was just sort of taking over the world. And Zev, the owner of the company, he made the decision. He said, nobody's going to miss a paycheck. There were lots of people that weren't at work, and we're talking roles that are cleaners and maintenance personnel, a very hands-on type of work, things you can't do remotely. And people were put on rotation. They'd work a week and then they'd be at home. Everybody got their full paychecks. So that's it's a textbook example of really walking the walk. It's not just putting people first because it sounds good on the website. He followed through, and that's sort of the way the company works.
Wow, that's an incredible story, because it's not easy to look at the banks and build those spreadsheets and make that call, right? That has probably led to some sleepless nights, but here you are. So that's fantastic. Thank you for sharing. And just thank you for coming on the show. Super, super excited that you took the time to share your story, and I'm very grateful. So thanks so much, Cody.
Yeah, happy to be here. Thank you, Adam.
Hey, thanks for watching The Culture Hack. Do you want to chat culture and engagement? Give us a call and come on the show.